2, 3. Welcome Just Espresso, where we taste espresso for you. We got 3 today that we're discussing from our shorter videos that we already made. The Guatemala Sun Peak from La Colombe, the Monaco from La Colombe, and the XOXO from La Colombe as well. We've decided we want to go through all the La Colombe coffees before we move on to anything else. But we are excited about the other coffees. We'll probably do them anyway. I'm Dave.
And I'm Rob.
And we're here to pump you up. Just kidding. What'd you think, Rob?
You know, these espressos were actually pretty good overall. I like them all. I think, you know, if you're into more classic style espresso, these two really fit the bill.
Wait, these two?
Both of them. Yeah, this was toasty and roasty. You said this was like burnt something. But that XOXO was definitely more third wave, bright, acidic, punchy, and pretty tasty.
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't. So these are interesting because for this one was definitely the darkest roast, right?
Oh, for sure.
But it actually had a surprising amount of sweetness there. It was just followed with that burnt brownie. I actually got like a cherry cordial for this one. Like up front, it was like, oh, tastes good. And then it was like, there's burnt brownie there too. So if you're an old style, like you want Sicilian style, old school espresso, like this actually is going to work out for you, which makes sense. Jean-Marie Lacroix mixes this with his Nizza. So he's probably getting a little more of that almond nuttiness mixed with maybe a little bit of cherry and then that bottom of like that burnt brownie coming through.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing to know is that none of these were really, I wouldn't call them bitter. Yeah, there's like that toastiness, the roastiness.
Yeah.
But because of the sweetness, because of the mouthfeel, it was actually pretty smooth.
Yeah. That being said, also, there wasn't anything exceptional about them, right? There wasn't, some of the other coffees we've tasted, it's just like beautiful. Or even like one that we did, I think it was from Green Street, it was like exceptionally minerally.
Right.
Like that was very strange because it was just like oyster minerally kind of weirdness, but that was exceptional in that way. Not necessarily the most pleasant thing, but it was interesting. These are actually, they got a pleasant amount of sweetness and but nothing like certainly no over the top like lemon coming through. But nothing that's like really going like wow, no long finish or anything like that, unless you want to consider that burnt brownie on the end as a long finish, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely, any of these are approachable. You could serve these up as lattes or caps to your friends and family.
Or just as espresso without any milk, which is of course my bias.
And just as espresso, but we all know family members.
Some people, people like milk.
They need that milk with sugar. We wouldn't need as much sugar with some of these coffees.
Yeah, and this was their Valentine's Day thing. I think this is the second year they've done it. And,
I can really taste the love.
Yeah, this has got that cherry. What did I put? I put sweet tart, like almost somewhere between a nerd and a sweet tart of sweetness. Yeah. The acidity is like really low, so I wouldn't actually say sweet tart. But it's like pretty. It comes through, and then maybe a little bit of something mineraliness or weirdness at the end, which I kind of put as a dry vermouth. But like just the lightest like sort of hint of it, maybe breath of it, if you will. Surprisingly like good. We also note we did these in 2 different recipes. So we have our more like single origin espresso / third wave, fourth wave espresso recipe, which you can kind of look back through and see how we make some of our coffees. That's the one that we show you in one of our shorts on how we make our espresso with we have like a nice long pause in the middle, and we pull a longer shot. And these we did shorter shots with like not filters at the bottom too. But I think it served these very well because I think once you start pulling extra stuff, a lot of with these darker roasts, kind of some nasty flavors can come out.
Right.
But I was very impressed. I was not expecting this to be as good as it was.
Yeah. I
was not expecting this to be as good as it was with the burnt brownie that I get from it. And I was impressed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, normally with blends, which this is a blend of coffee from Colombia, Burundi, and Ethiopia. So I mean, there's 2 Africans in there. Colombia, of course, it's a classic, really nice. But for it to be as light as it is, It surprised me. I guess this is about.
Light though.
It's not that light, but it's lighter than the
They're
Guatemala.
listed as medium roasts.
I mean, that's definitely.
These are
Yeah.
These are darker roasts than you would find at many cafes. Let's say like an Intelligentsia, you're not going to find anything
Yeah.
as dark as these two.
These are definitely.
these two.
These are definitely your average person medium roast.
Yes, average person.
Not your coffee.
Not a fourth, fifth.
If you're really trying to nerd out, you're probably going to look at these and go, "Oh, these are like, closer to a darker roast than they are medium." But then again, it's all language and
It is all
it's a
it's all
spectrum.
relative spectrum, right? Yeah.
They're not Norwegian, but they're also not Folgers.
Yes. This is interesting. The Jean-Marie Lacroix thing. He's a Frenchman who like opened this fine dining French restaurant in Philly like 30 years ago. It still comes around, and I've seen him, and he like will get this and mix it with the nitsa, and it makes sense. This has that sort of like classic burnt, bitter backbone. That's like not the bitterness so much, but the burntness is there and comes in at the end. And so, like I said, if you like that Sicilian style, old school, where you definitely put a little bit of sugar every time, because if you don't, sometimes it's a bit too bitter for you, then this would actually do it for you.
Yeah.
These two are good as well. But this was surprisingly like that cherry pop that. Anyway,
Yeah.
they're pretty tasty.
Tasted good.
I'm Dave.
I'm Rob.
This is Just Espresso, where we taste espresso for you. Hit us up in the comments if you're interested in or want us to taste any particular coffees, or if you're in Philly and you want to come taste coffee with us.
Yeah, let
we
us
actually
know.
freeze a lot of these, so we can actually make samples for people some other time. And subscribe. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.